Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing a model, Black DLC over titanium, that was launched in 2019, the first ever Freak with a crown. This is the Ulysse Nardin Freak X. Being Black DLC titanium, it is very, very light, and it measures a reasonable 43 millimeters in diameter, 13.7 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 49.4 millimeters with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now you can see the watch wears easily on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and it's relatively well constrained, being less than 50 millimeters and relatively cushion cased across the wrist. I can recommend it for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. My 16 centimeter wrist wears it well. It is flat enough and sloped enough to fit underneath most cuffs, including dress sleeves. The timepiece features a strap that includes large rectangular scale alligator leather, matte black. It's bolstered a little bit to give it thickness. It has a monotone stitch, but with a contrasting red binding, and then a folded edge with a calfskin on the bottom. It also includes a blackened double deployant clasp in titanium, like the case. You can see it's a double fold. It uses ceramic pin snaps, so over time the titanium can't aggress against the ceramic, so it will always have its tight and snappy tolerances through time. Again, twin trigger release, so you don't have to worry about it popping open. You have to press the triggers before it will open. The timepiece includes a lovely case flank. The lugs are short and integrated. They come to a bit of a point, and you can see that there's a bevel that runs the length of the case right down the shoulder of the lugs. The crown is very vaguely conical. It includes a combination of matte finish and polish, and then we have a bezel that is stepped in from the case band to create the impression of a thinner watch. We have a number plate on the side that appears to express that this is number 3 of 5, but in fact it's just a serial number 0305 split by an X, because this is Freak X. And of course Ulysse Nardin puts these little number plates on the side of its watches because it harks back to the numbering system for its old marine chronometers or navigation clocks. Rest assured, there are more than 5 of these in the world, but it is not a common watch. The bezel includes, well, at least I should say the inner bezel includes both polish and satin. There's a small step on each side, and then there's a larger step at the base, as well as again up at 12. The sapphire is dramatically boxed with huge camber to clear the enormous carousel. So the Freak is often called a tourbillon. It's not quite that. It could be accurately called a carousel tourbillon. With a carousel, there's a separate power supply to operate and rotate the carriage, as well as to operate the movement. So if they had one power source, you'd probably crash the escapement by trying to move the carriage at the same time it's beating. So the carousel was invented by Bonabonix and a Dane during the 1890s, and it does the same thing a tourbillon does. It rotates the escapement and assortment balance, but it does so with greater durability and, again, 2 independent power supplies. As ever, it's a baguette movement, which means you have the drivetrain, the escapement, and the balance on a baguette that doubles as the minute hand. And you can see that there is an hour hand just below. From the first Freak back in 2001, we had an hour hand, a minute hand, and the minute hand carried the movement, including the escapement and the balance. So you can see that the dial base is black, matte, or satinated, alternately matte and satinated. We'll take a quick look so you can see that this watch is fairly well loomed at night, and it has lovely raised indices for the hours. Now, if we get a little bit closer, you can see most of the features of the caliber UN 230 are visible on the dial side. You can see that it's free sprung for durability, that it features a proprietary precious metal white gold and silicon balance. It also features an anti-magnetic silicon hairspring. If you look, the entire escapement is in silicon, including the anchor and the escape wheel. So there's a lot of proprietary silicon tech. UN bought a company called Sigatech back in 2006. So UN is one of the few companies in Switzerland that makes its own silicon. Turning it all over, you can see a feature that does not make this the first automatic Freak, but it was one of the first after the Freak Vision. The watch is 50 meters water resistant, includes an automatic winding system that uses a bidirectional pawl-based magic lever winding mechanism. It has a 3-day power reserve, and this is a manufacturer movement built in-house by Ulysse Nardin. It beats sway at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and it pivots on 21 joules. There's a lot to love about this movement, and again, having 50 meters of water resistance is a luxury that most Freak owners historically could never imagine, as it wasn't until the Freak Cruiser that the watch had any water resistance, and that watch didn't come out until 2013. So this is a timepiece that represents a lot more water resistance, setting ease with the crown, and use convenience with the automatic winding than Freak owners are accustomed to having. It is still beautifully executed with a wonderful depth to the baguette movement on the dial. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.